All right, so we've rebuilt your vocabulary foundation. Now let's talk about the two skills that intermediate learners struggle with the most: listening and speaking. And here's the thing, these two skills are deeply connected. You can't improve your speaking without improving your listening, and vice versa. They're like two sides of the same coin. The plateau often feels hardest in these two areas. You can read an article and understand it pretty well. You can write an email with time to think and edit. But when someone speaks to you quickly, or when you need to respond in real time, suddenly everything feels much harder. Why does this happen? Because reading and writing are slower processes. You have time to translate, to think, to analyze. But listening and speaking happen in real time. There's no pause button in a real conversation. And this is where we need to move from understanding the language to thinking and reacting in the language. Let's break this down into 3 focused training methods. First, let's talk about how you're currently listening to English. Be honest with yourself. Are you doing passive listening or active listening? Passive listening is when English is just playing in the background while you're doing something else: cooking, cleaning, commuting, exercising. And look, passive listening is fine. It's better than nothing. It helps you get comfortable with the sound and rhythm of English, but it won't break your plateau. What you need now is deep listening. This is focused, intentional, analytical listening. And yes, it requires more effort, but the results are transformative. Here's the technique I want you to try: the focus, repeat, match cycle. This is a 3-step process that trains both your ears and your mouth simultaneously. Step 1. Focus. Choose a short piece of authentic English content, a 30 to 60-second clip from a podcast, an interview, a TED Talk, or a YouTube video. Something with clear audio and natural speaking pace. Don't choose something too easy, like slow educational content for learners. Choose real English. Listen to this clip once without looking at any transcript or subtitles. Your goal is simple. What is the main idea? Can you catch the general topic? Don't worry about every word. Just focus on the overall message. Step 2. Repeat, or shadowing. Now comes the magic part. Listen to the same clip again, but this time you're going to speak along with the speaker. This is called shadowing. But here's the key. Don't just repeat the words. Try to match everything: the speed, the rhythm, the intonation, the emotion, even the accent if you can. Imagine you're an actor trying to imitate this person. If they pause, you pause. If they emphasize a word, you emphasize it. If they speak quickly, you speed up. Your goal is not to understand every word intellectually. Your goal is to let your mouth and brain synchronize with the natural rhythm of English. This might feel awkward at first. You might stumble, you might lose the pace. That's completely okay. The point is to train your mouth muscles in your brain to process and produce English at native speed. Step 3. Match. Finally, look at the transcript or subtitles. Compare what you heard and repeated with the actual text. This is where the real learning happens. Ask yourself, what did I miss? Were there any words that sounded completely different from how they're spelled? Were there linking sounds I didn't catch? For example, what are you becomes whata ya in fast speech. Did you becomes did ya. This process of matching what you heard with the written text reveals the gap between textbook English and real spoken English. And closing this gap is essential for breaking the plateau. I recommend doing this focus repeat match cycle for just 10 to 15 minutes a day. Consistency is more important than intensity. If you do this every single day for a month, you will notice a dramatic improvement in both your listening comprehension and your speaking fluency. Let me share a success story. I worked with a learner named Maria. She had been stuck at an intermediate level for 2 years. She could understand TV shows with subtitles, but without subtitles, she was lost, and her speaking was slow and hesitant. I introduced her to the shadowing technique. For 30 days, she spent 15 minutes every morning shadowing clips from her favorite podcast. Just 15 minutes. After 1 month, she told me, "I feel like someone adjusted the speed dial in my brain. I can suddenly understand fast speech, and when I speak, the words come out more naturally." That's the power of deep listening combined with active repetition. Now, let's focus specifically on speaking. One of the biggest frustrations intermediate learners face is this. I know what I want to say, but by the time I form the sentence in my head, the conversation has already moved on. This is a reaction speed problem. Your brain is still processing language too slowly. Think of it like learning to drive. When you first start, you have to think about every action. Check the mirror, press the clutch, change gear, release the clutch, press the gas. It's slow and effortful. But after months of practice, these actions become automatic. You don't think about them anymore. Your brain and body just do them. Speaking English needs to become the same way. Right now, you're still consciously constructing sentences. We need to move toward automatic production. Here is one of the most effective exercises for this: the opinion drill. Here's how it works. Pick a random, simple topic. It doesn't have to be deep or important. In fact, simpler is better. Examples: why are dogs better than cats? Is reading books better than watching movies? Should people work from home or in an office? Is breakfast the most important meal of the day? Set a timer for 60 seconds. Press start. Now you must speak continuously on this topic without stopping. Even if you stammer, even if you use filler words like like, keep talking. Do not stop. Do not pause for more than 2 seconds. The goal is not quality. The goal is not perfect grammar or profound ideas. The goal is uninterrupted flow. Why does this work? Because it forces your brain to bypass the translation and editing process. When you know you can't stop, your brain stops trying to be perfect. It starts pulling out whatever words and phrases it can access quickly. And this is exactly the skill you need for real conversations. Do this exercise once a day. Change the topic each time. Some days you'll feel more fluent, some days you'll struggle. That's normal. The key is to keep doing it. Here's a pro tip. Record yourself. When you listen back, you'll notice something interesting. Yes, you made mistakes. Yes, you used filler words. But you probably also said some things quite well. You'll start recognizing patterns in your speech. Maybe you always hesitate with past tense verbs, or you struggle with connecting ideas smoothly. This awareness is valuable because now you know exactly what to work on. Let me give you another powerful technique, the question-answer rapid fire. Find a list of common conversation questions online. Here are some examples. What did you do last weekend? What's your favorite way to relax? If you could travel anywhere, where would you go? What's the best advice you've ever received? Set a timer for 30 seconds per question. Read the question, start the timer, and answer out loud immediately. Don't think for more than 2 seconds before you start speaking. Force yourself to start talking even if you don't have a fully formed answer yet. This trains your brain to start producing language quickly, which is essential for real-time conversation. All right, here's something most English courses don't tell you, but it's crucial for real-world fluency. You need to prepare your ears for different accents. Here's the reality. Most English speakers in the world are not native speakers. If you only train your ears to understand American or British English, you're limiting yourself dramatically. Think about where English is used globally, in business, in international meetings, in travel. You might talk to someone from India, someone from Germany, someone from Japan, someone from Brazil. Each brings their own accent and pronunciation patterns to English. If you want true fluency, your brain needs to be flexible. You need to be able to understand English regardless of the accent. So here's your challenge. Actively seek out non-native English input. Watch TED Talks by speakers from different countries. Listen to international news channels. Watch interviews with people from various regions. Join online conversation groups where you interact with learners and speakers from around the world. At first, this might feel harder. You might think, wait, I'm still trying to understand native speakers. But trust me on this. Exposing yourself to diverse accents makes your brain more adaptable. It forces you to focus on meaning rather than perfect pronunciation. And ironically, this will also help you understand native speakers better, because you'll be training your brain to fill in gaps and infer meaning from context. Let me give you a practical example. There's a fantastic podcast called The English We Speak by BBC, but also explore podcasts hosted by non-native English speakers who are fluent. There are amazing content creators from Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America producing high-quality English content with their own natural accents. This diversity is not a distraction. It's a strength. It prepares you for the real world of English communication. Before we move to the third pillar, let's recap. In this section, we covered deep listening with the focus, repeat, match cycle, and shadowing technique. 2. Reaction speed training with the opinion drill and rapid-fire question answering. 3. Diversifying your listening input to include non-native accents. These techniques will transform your listening comprehension and speaking speed. But remember, these are skills that require consistent practice. Just like physical exercise, you won't see results after one session. But after 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks of consistent daily practice, the transformation will be undeniable. Now, let's move to the third pillar. Let's talk about grammar. I know, grammar can feel tedious. You've studied grammar rules for years. You've done countless exercises. You know the difference between present perfect and past simple. You understand conditionals. You've memorized irregular verbs. But here's the frustrating part. When you speak, those rules don't show up automatically. You know the grammar intellectually, but it doesn't flow naturally in real-time conversation. This is the classic intermediate challenge. Your grammar knowledge is in your conscious memory, but it needs to be in your muscle memory. Think of it like playing a musical instrument. You can read sheet music and understand music theory, but that doesn't mean you can play the piano fluently. Fluency comes from practice, so much practice that your fingers move automatically without you having to think about each note. Grammar is the same. We need to move it from your head to your reflexes. Let me break this down into 3 focused strategies. Here's the first truth I need you to accept. You don't need to master all of English grammar. You really don't. Native speakers make grammar mistakes all the time. They say, "Me and John went to the store," instead of "John and I went to the store." They mix up who and whom. They split infinitives, and yet they communicate perfectly well. Your goal is not grammatical perfection. Your goal is to eliminate the high-frequency errors that interfere with clear communication. So here's what I want you to do. Identify your top 3 grammar mistakes. These are the errors you make most frequently, the ones that show up again and again in your speech and writing. For many intermediate learners, these are things like tense consistency, mixing past and present in the same story, articles, and, the, or no article, prepositions, on, in, at, for, with. These little words are tricky. Third person singular s, he go versus he goes. Conditional structures, if I will go versus if I go. Which 3 are yours? If you're not sure, here's how to find out. Record yourself speaking for 3 minutes on any topic, then listen back and note your mistakes. Or ask a teacher, a tutor, or even use an AI tool to analyze a few paragraphs of your writing. Once you've identified your top 3, here comes the game-changing technique: error journaling. Get a small notebook or open a note on your phone. Every time you catch yourself making one of your 3 targeted errors, whether in speaking or writing, immediately write it down. Write 2 things: the incorrect sentence, what you said or wrote, and the correct sentence, what you should have said or written. For example, incorrect. Yesterday, I go to the store and I buy some milk. Correct. Yesterday, I went to the store and I bought some milk. Or, incorrect. She don't like coffee. Correct. She doesn't like coffee. Here's the key. Review this journal for just 5 minutes every single morning. Read through your arrow pairs. Say the correct sentences out loud. Why does this work? Because awareness is the first step to correction. Once your brain becomes hyper-aware of a specific mistake, it starts catching it in real time. At first, you'll catch it after you've already said it. Then you'll catch it right as you're saying it. Eventually, you'll catch it before you say it, and that's when the correction becomes automatic. I've seen learners eliminate persistent errors within just a few weeks using this technique. It's not magic. It's targeted, mindful practice. Now let's talk about how to sound more advanced and fluent. One clear marker of advanced English is the ability to express complex ideas in complex sentences. Intermediate learners often speak in short, choppy sentences. I went to the store. I bought some milk. The store was crowded. I didn't like it. Advanced speakers combine ideas smoothly. Although the store was crowded, I went anyway to buy some milk, but I didn't enjoy the experience. See the difference? The information is the same, but the second version flows more naturally and sounds more sophisticated. The secret is mastering conjunctions and transition words. These are the bridges that connect your ideas. Here are some powerful connectors you should start using more frequently. Although, even though, contrast. Although it was raining, we decided to go for a walk. Despite, in spite of, contrast with a noun. Despite the rain, we went for a walk. Moreover, furthermore, adding information. The movie was boring. Moreover, it was too long. Consequently, therefore, showing result. I didn't study for the test. Consequently, I didn't do well. Provided that, as long as, condition, you can borrow my car, provided that you return it by evening. Here's your practice exercise, the sentence combining challenge. Take 2 or 3 simple sentences and combine them using one of these connectors. Do this every day with sentences from your own life. Start with, I was tired. I stayed up late. I had to finish my project. Combine. Although I was tired, I stayed up late because I had to finish my project. Or, I was tired. I went to bed early. I wanted to feel refreshed the next day. Combine. I was tired, so I went to bed early in order to feel refreshed the next day. The more you practice this, the more naturally these complex structures will appear in your spontaneous speech. All right, here's the final grammar technique, and this one is incredibly powerful for moving grammar into your muscle memory. Substitution drilling. Here's how it works. Find one excellent sentence from something you read or listened to. It could be from an article, a podcast, a video, or a book. Choose a sentence that uses a grammar structure you want to master. Now, your challenge is to keep the grammar structure exactly the same, but change 70% of the vocabulary. Let's try it together. Original sentence. Although it was raining heavily, I decided to go for a walk to clear my head. This sentence uses although, contrast connector, past continuous, was raining, adverb, heavily, past simple, decided, infinitive of purpose, to go, to clear. Now, create your own sentence using the exact same structure. Your version. Although the task was incredibly difficult, she managed to complete the project to meet the deadline. Do you see what happened? The grammar structure is identical, but the meaning is completely different. Let's do another one. Original sentence. Despite feeling nervous about the interview, he managed to present his ideas confidently and impressed the hiring team. Your version. Despite being exhausted from work, I decided to attend the meeting and contributed several useful suggestions. The beauty of this technique is that you're training your brain to reuse grammatical patterns without consciously thinking about the rules. You're not memorizing rules, you're internalizing structures through creative repetition. Here's your homework. Every day, find one strong sentence and create 3 variations using the same structure. Write them down. Say them out loud. This is grammar practice that actually sticks because you're actively using the structures, not just studying them passively. Let me give you a few more template sentences to get you started. Template 1. Not only blank phrase, but also blank phrase. Not only did she complete the assignment, but she also helped her classmates understand the concepts. Template 2. The more blank clause, the more blank clause. The more I practice speaking English, the more confident I become. Template 3. If I had blank past perfect, I would have blank past perfect. If I had known about the traffic, I would have left earlier. Choose one template per week and create multiple variations until it becomes automatic. Before we move to the final pillar, let me summarize what we've covered in grammar. 1. Focus on your high-frequency errors using error journaling. Don't try to fix everything at once. 2. Expand your sentence complexity by mastering conjunctions and connectors. 3. Use substitution drilling to internalize grammar structures through creative repetition. Grammar is not your enemy. It's the framework that allows you to express complex ideas clearly. And with these 3 targeted approaches, you can move grammar from something you know to something you can use automatically.